Hey everyone, my name is David Dunbar, or the Theme Park Evangelist. This is my first time YouTubing in the family room for the first time in a couple of weeks, which means that my quarantine is getting ready to come to an end. So officially, Andrew, Jonathan, and Zane have all gone back to work at this point. Zane actually went back on Tuesday, then he had yesterday off, which is weird because um, Tuesday is their day that they're closed to the public, the Creation Museum, the Ark Encounter, and all of my roommates, including my brother, because he's technically a roommate of mine, even though he's my brother, all work at the Creation Museum. And I guess my brother and Andrew and Zane all took turns swapping Tuesdays out. Now, this week, technically, um, Andrew and Jonathan were still on quarantine until today. And I think in the past couple of weeks, management at the Christian Museum decided it would actually be easier to, instead of having them swap out coming in every other Tuesday, like Zane would come in one Tuesday and Andrew and Jonathan come in the next Tuesday, and then just kept swapping back and forth, that instead that everybody in the clean department would come in on Tuesday since there's so few of them, and they would get everything done, and then they would have just a random day off in the middle of the week. So Zane came in on Tuesday, and then he had Wednesday off, and then they always get Sundays and Mondays off now because the Creation Museum is closed on Sundays and Mondays, and then they would just have to work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are Tuesday, and or they could also have a, or they would always have to work Tuesday no matter what. And then they could either work Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because we're already including Tuesday in the mix, or they could work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, or they could work just Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and have Saturday off. So it could go in either direction, and I think that is very interesting how that works out. But regardless, that's kind of how their situation works now. And since Jonathan and Andrew only just hold on. Yeah, right. Anyway, I'll look at that later. So, yeah, now that they just went back today, basically they'll work today, tomorrow, and then Saturday, and then um they'll have Sunday and Monday off again, and then they'll go back to work on Tuesday. So, yeah, this week will be a little short for them, but at least they'll still get 40 hours because they got immediate 40 hours of COVID pay, and then they had to use up some sick pay. Well, thankfully, Andrew has had a ton because Andrew has worked more than anybody out of the three of them. Like, between me and Andrew, if I had any sick pay, me and Andrew would probably have the most because both of us have worked nonstop. Like, if this were a vacation of mine, this would be my first vacation since last late February. I was trying my absolute hardest to keep going all the way until late February because I wanted next month to be more special. But now it's basically going to be me working a month and then going. I'm taking another week off again, and it's going to not mean as much to me because now I'm going to be like, no, I kind of want to wait a little longer before I take a vacation, but whatever. Well, I'm not taking any later. I intentionally take vacations in late February for TJ's birthday, not for Kay's and not for Vanita's, because then I would, if I came in late April, then I would have to take a, then I would have to celebrate both Kay and Vanita's birthday, and that to me would not be worth it because that would be a lot of money down the drain. Because then I would be required to buy both of them a birthday dinner, and I know Kay would definitely accept it, but Vanita not so much. Vanita would be like, "Oh no, 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 you don't have to do that." But to me, it's more worth it to come in late February and just do something with TJ for his birthday. TJ is my closest friend down there, and then I would just try to do something with the rest of them and make them all feel special. And to me, that's more worth it. So anyway, you're probably wondering where I'm going of all this. So I wanted to start with them first because with my roommates and my brother, because I wanted you guys to know kind of what's going on with them. So my last day of quarantine, so to speak, is Tuesday. Now, my doctor actually has lifted my quarantine, so the only thing I'm not allowed to do right now is go to my store, and I will not go into my store until I'm allowed to go back. And if I have to go to my store for any reason, I'm going to do Meijer pickup only because I want them to, strongly believe that I'm still trying to quarantine. And I'm doing that to the best of my ability right now, which is why I'm not doing any kind of YouTubing outside of the house right now. Because I don't want people to think that I'm, taking advantage of being able to be out of my house right now. And if I do have to go to my out of my house for any reason, I try to make it as quick and brief now. Now that my doctor has lifted my quarantine, it's called, well, now I'll go into Walmart and go grab like a quick few things, or I'll go into Kroger and grab a quick few things. I'll try to do like contactless curbside pickup or whatever whenever applicable. I'll still try to do drive through as much as possible. But as soon as I go back to work, I can go right back to normal, like nothing ever happened. And I'll go back to doing YouTubing outside the house again and all that fun stuff. And also, I don't really have any money right now, so I really can't do much. Like, I'm relying on my credit cards right now. So, funny story is, I got my paycheck today from Meijer, and this is for my first time I've been getting, or I'm getting paid for being out of work. And I don't really feel like I earned it, but at the same time, it's nice to have. So the way leave of absence works is the day that you get approved for it, it goes all the way until the Friday. And I usually work Tuesday through Saturday. That way I can have Sundays off for church and then Mondays off for Bible study. And my manager's really cool about that, and he has been for a little over a year now, and I really appreciate that about him. So I had arranged for my car insurance to come out today, as well as a partial car payment today. And then, of course, I saw yesterday morning that I was only going to make just enough to basically pay for the car insurance, which is not that bad for a 2016 Ford Focus, and a partial car payment. And my car payment's not that bad either. My car payment's actually pretty low for my 2016 Ford Focus. So I was like, oh, I guess I'll be forced to use my credit cards again. But at least on the bright side, when I do go back to work, which is next Wednesday, I only have to use my credit cards that day, and then whatever I happen to go out of the house and I have to use my credit cards. I mean, otherwise, I'll get another paid leave of absence again next Thursday, and that will be for this week, which will be Monday through Friday. So this week I'm being paid for 5 days because they said that it'll go through the entire week, and then next Wednesday is the day that it officially ends. Well, actually, it officially ends next Tuesday, so I'm only going to get paid leave of absence next week for Monday and Tuesday, and then I'll start making my own money again Wednesday. So I might actually get my biggest paycheck next week, as weird as that is, because I'll get leave of absence pay Monday and Tuesday, and then I'll work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So 4 days plus the additional two. So that's kind of interesting how that works. And I know it won't be considered overtime pay, but it'll certainly feel like it when considering I'm basically going to be paid 6 days in a row, but I'm only working 4 of those 6 days I'm being paid for. Plus, I'm still able to clean my church now. I'm not a, I'm not really supposed to be talking about that, so I do have to clean my church still, even though I'm not really supposed to be out of the house all that much. And the reason why I have to clean my church still is because they don't really have anybody else to clean the downstairs or the offices. So I'm still kind of required to go over there and get stuff done. And that's why my church is willing to bend the rules. And this is not just coming from like the how should I put this? Because I don't want to necessarily say who's saying it. I'm not saying just the church themselves are saying I have to do it. I'm also saying the board of directors are telling me I need to do it. So if, Meijer were to ever find out that I was cleaning my church when I'm supposed to be at the house, because as far as Meijer is concerned, they probably would say I need to stay home as much as possible until I am allowed to resume normal activities, which is next Wednesday, even though my doctor said I can go back to normal activities already. So it's confusing, and that's why I'm just kind of being careful right now. I'm like, well, church has been allowing me for a little while now. And if the church board of directors, which is higher above the church, then says I have to do it, then I kind of have no choice. And that's why I said if Meijer ever found out, they would have to go through them. And I would say, well, if you guys have a problem, then you need to speak to my church board of directors, because they're the ones that gave me that permission. They're the ones that told me to do this. And if you were to ask me, well, is there anyone else that could do it? I would say, well, the only other one that could have done it was the same other guy that was under quarantine, and he quit. So there was nothing that they could do. And I don't know what to tell them the day or the time period I go on vacation. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. So yeah, hopefully nothing will come of this. But the main reason why I want to do this YouTube video is I wanted to tell you guys, personally what I thought about being stuck under quarantine. So it's, of course, not the easiest thing to do in the world. Obviously, it's not, because, you're basically like a prisoner in your own home. That's how I feel. Like, you're limited to what you have in the house. Uh, Whatever you already have in your home, or whatever you went and bought before, all this happened, is all you have. And thankfully, my house is basically like a bachelor pad. You've got a lot of electronics, you've got a lot of video games, you've got a lot of nice TVs. My brother and I bought a really nice TV back on Black Friday. I'm not going to say how much it was. I'm not going to say what kind of TV it is. We're just going to go if it's a really nice TV. I'm not even going to show you guys where it is. I'm assuming you guys have seen it already in one of my YouTube videos. So, let's just put it this way. It's in the house somewhere. If you guys even remember where it is. If you guys even remember that YouTube video. And it's been really nice to have, especially, at night when my brother is home and we want to watch The Office. And the best part about having our own TV is the fact that Andrew sometimes likes to come out and use his own TV, which I'm actually nearby right now. And he's pretty cool about letting me use his TV. So sometimes I'll come up here and I'll play Super Nintendo. And I've been playing that game I like to talk about sometimes on my YouTube channel, which I'm not going to today. And sometimes I'll play Fable 2, which I grew up playing over the past 10 years. Well, specifically back in high school. I shouldn't say grew up. What am I saying? But yeah, that's sometimes I'll play that too. Sometimes I just like to sit here and play or do my YouTube channel. Usually I would be doing it in my room because everybody would be home. But today I'm very blessed because everybody's at work except myself. So I get to use whatever room I want. I could go downstairs in the basement and do it, but In this case, because I'm the only one here, I would rather use this room because it's the most inviting and most welcome. It's also one of the very first rooms you see upon entering my house. Actually, the kitchen is the very first room you see. So that's why I chose this room specifically. But it has been nice having all these things. Also, while I was stuck at home downstairs, I started getting into The Mandalorian. If that says anything about what kind of TV I have, um, I also went over to my parents' house earlier this week and we started watching a new show called WandaVision. It's very interesting. I enjoy it. I probably enjoy it slightly more than I enjoy The Mandalorian. But then again, I just got into The Mandalorian, so I'm still trying to get more into it. Um, let's see here. What else have I been doing downstairs? Oh, yeah, I was playing some Nintendo 64. Well, technically, I was playing the Super Mario 3D All Stars game, and I was playing the a game that was designed for the Nintendo 64 that's also designed for the Nintendo Switch for a little while. And then I started playing again last night. Of course, the whole game was already, so I'm like, well, that's just great. My brother was playing the brand new Spider Man a lot during quarantine as well as doing college work. So I think he ended up beating the entire game the entire time we were on quarantine. As far as The Office goes, when or just before I went on quarantine, I think it was a Saturday, I saw one of my friends that happens to work at Meijer, and his name is John, super cool guy. He's probably in his early 30s, but he loves The Office, and he loves a lot of the same music my brother and I do. And I was telling him that I just watched the episode where Michael and Dwight drove into the lake and how I lost it. And that was back in season four, like early season four, and we're already halfway through. Sorry, Mitchy. We're already halfway through season five, so we've gotten a long ways in just a short amount of time, like in just the past week and a half, almost 2 weeks now. And other things that I've, been able to do during quarantine that I never would consider doing if my life were going normal right now. I am not a huge fan of going doing like carry out unless it's going inside and grabbing the food. Like I don't usually do the whole contactless carry out thing. I don't usually um, get food delivered. I probably would say that would be the last thing I would ever consider doing. And even if I were desperate, I would say I would rather go out the next day and go and get that before I even consider doing any kind of delivery. In fact, it was because of quarantine that I racked up some debt on my credit card. And most of it was, of course, grocery debt than anything else. So my quarantine officially started back on Tuesday, January 12th. So I showed up at my work and I tried to go to work. And the reason why I was more interested in trying to work that day, even though I was strictly told not to, was because, okay, I've already tested once negative. My roommate's not acting as bad. He's already gone tried to go back to work. So I was like, now what do I do? So and I didn't really get told that much information. So I tried showing up at work. Plus, I really need to go grocery shopping, and this was my last chance that I was going to be able to go inside my store for 2 weeks, maybe even longer. So, I tried coming in, and of course they said no. I kind of expected that. So I grabbed a small cart because I knew I just needed enough to get by, and those small carts at Meijer and Kroger can actually carry quite a bit. Got a text message here. Yeah. Well, that's the good news. Anyway, so I basically grabbed a small cart and I got what I needed. pretty much stocked up on frozen food, and I got some breakfast food, and I stopped at my parents' house for a little bit. I'm going over the entire 2 weeks for you guys, but I'm going to try and make it as quick as possible. That's what I'm going to do for my last 10 minutes. And I waited until my mom left because I knew she was going to kill me if she saw that I brought my dad over some donuts. So these are not your ordinary donuts. Every winter, starting in January, of course, because that's normally when winter is officially started, even though it's in late December. But I'm going with January because most people think Christmas in December. And I found out about these donuts because of a customer through Meijer. And Meijer is one of the few places that actually does sell this particular donut. I forget the name offhand, but um, it's a donut that comes out. It's only up north, and they are sold between January through March or April, and they stop being sold right at Lent, which is really weird. And they're only found up north, as I said. You cannot find them in Florida, and they are amazing. They're absolutely amazing. I really wish I remembered the name of it offhand, but I don't remember offhand. But there's like 8 different flavors of this donut. So I decided to get the cherry filled one, and I brought it over to my parents' condo. And I gave my dad one. I had one. And I guess he was like, "Oh, you can go ahead and bring home the rest." Well, that was easy enough to do because I was able to give my brother one, and then I think I ended up having the last one. So I also brought home muffins, and of course, those were gone within a few days. And progressively, as quarantine went on, I started getting up later and later, and I started making breakfast a lower priority as time went on. And the funny thing is, when quarantine first started, we actually still had a table. And then Andrew decided, well, I'm going to start resurfacing the table since I've got all this time. So the table ended up disappearing into the garage, and it's been there since. So now we don't have a kitchen table right now, but thankfully the smaller tables are back. So now I can go back to eating breakfast again. Like yesterday, I had cereal again. But today I did not have any cereal at all. I decided I'm going to go to McDonald's and get the 25-cent cheeseburger instead because I'm like, I can't say no to a 25-cent cheeseburger. But yeah, that was pretty much what I did today. But aside from that, so I knew that the groceries I had bought at Meijer were not going to last. There was no way. So the very next day, of course, which was the same day, I think we ended up finishing the donuts, if not starting on the muffins. I had this really bad headache, and I don't know why I had a really bad headache, and my brother was feeling really dizzy. You might almost say, oh no, I hope you guys didn't have COVID. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it had anything to do with the fact that I went from getting up really early one day to sleeping in the next day and I threw my body off completely because that's happened to me before. I don't know what the deal with my brother was, but I can tell you guys right now, the very first week of quarantine, my body was a mess because I think I was just really tired. But the second week, which is the week we're on now, my body feels a lot more well rested and is ready to go back. But at this point, I'm becoming very restless because I'm like, oh, I want to go back. I think the first week was more necessary than the second week because, the first week everybody was stuck at home, everybody was tired, everybody actually needed that time off. If I were to tell anybody, the first week I really appreciated actually being off somewhat, but at the same time, I didn't really want to be out of work just yet because I still wanted to kind of push my body into until I got to late February and then take time off because that's what I've been trying to get my body to do is just wait. But at the same time, you can't always get what you want either, and sometimes you don't know when someone's going to get sick, especially with COVID, and that's still a thing here in 2021. As funny as that is, yeah, it's not really funny, but And it's just too ironic this happened right before the inauguration of Joe Biden. And I know most of you guys, if not, I shouldn't say most of you guys, I know there are people out there that will say, I'm totally against Joe Biden being president. I know TJ is like 100% against it. I've heard nothing but insults about Joe Biden from his mouth, if not from his messenger, ever since Joe Biden got inaugurated. So, you're always going to have people out there that are against it. And I've been trying to tell them since, the whole election. It would have been the same way if Trump had gotten reelected. It would have been all the liberals bashing us down, and then he would have been bashing them down back, saying, I could care less. He would have been cussing them out and saying, you think I give two beeps and stuff like that, and he would have been flicking them off and laughing at their faces. And I've been like, what? How do you think they're reacting to you right now? And but TJ doesn't stop and think about that because TJ unfortunately is very autistic and doesn't stop and think about how others feel. And I am stopping and thinking about that. It's like you're always going to have a divided country. Now that, we're moving further and further into, the millennium, and which means that we're getting closer and closer to the rapture. You never know when that's going to happen. I mean, the Bible says it could come up and strike us like the thief of the night. I could be YouTubing and all of a sudden I'm not there anymore. And then the YouTube video will never get uploaded. It's going to be even more ironic if I'm doing a live vlog and then all of a sudden I vanish before your eyes and all you see is my clothes. And then you're going to be like, where did David go? Well, I'm a Christian. I got raptured. I gave my life to God back when I was 8 years old. And I can't exactly say that I'm not perfect, but I'm not a good person either. I refuse to call anybody, including myself, a good person because no one is good except God. And I know there are a lot of people out there that will say, well, you're a good person or he's a good person, or I've done enough good deeds to consider myself a good person. Well, I don't live by the whole good works thing, so I refuse to use that terminology. Anyway, I'm not here to preach to you guys. So yeah, on the Wednesday, I decided that I was going to order groceries for the first time online, and of course, I had a pounding headache all day. I think I finally caved in and I took some medication for it, and I'm trying to do it on my phone, which was kind of difficult. Sorry, just checking to see if I had any notifications or anything. Laptop's definitely going to need to be charged, that's for sure. I was hoping to charge it after this YouTube video. I was hoping I would have more time to do more vlogs, but because my brother spent 30 minutes messaging me about a private situation, I ended up taking a lot longer to get to this YouTube video than I anticipated, as disappointing as that is, but that's okay. I've always got tomorrow too. Actually, tomorrow, the only thing I have going on is I'm going to my church later on in the evening to go and vacuum the downstairs, and I'm also going to do all the trash. So probably going to get there about 4:30, right after all the preschool leaves for the day, and then or right around that time anyway, maybe even as close to 5 o'clock. But otherwise, I'll pretty much be doing what I did today. Like today, I did a little bit more because I figured I'd go and update my timesheet, and then I needed more Drano for the tub. But I pretty much have been doing almost nothing all day long. But I still wanted to try to get myself ready for next Wednesday. So I've been slowly but surely getting myself back in that situation again. Kind of why I went on a 2 mile walk yesterday too, and try to get my body used to working out again in the parking lot. Because you'd be surprised, retail is very physically demanding, especially if you have to push carts. I'm not necessarily saying that anything you do outside is physically demanding unless you work in the back, but if you work outside, it's very physically demanding. Those carts don't push themselves, and we don't have those electronic cart pushers like Walmart does. My particular store does not use that, so we have to do it ourselves. But that's okay because it's more exercise for me. And we have inventive ways to do it. Wednesday and Thursday, I ordered groceries for Friday. Excuse me. I think I did most of the grocery ordering on Wednesday, and then I ordered a quick few more on Thursday, and I was still able to get the same time frame. And that, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Thursday evening, I decided at the last minute, well, we really need more of this, and or like I think what really started it was I really wanted more water bottles for the garage because I didn't know how long those water bottles we had in the garage were going to last. So I'm kind of glad I did do this because the ones I just bought are the ones that are flying off the shelf right now. Because we keep everything on my brother's dresser. Well, not maybe not dresser, but it's kind of like a bookshelf. I guess you could say it's a bookshelf. And we've been putting all of the drinks on there. And of course, when you live up north, your garage is like a giant refrigerator during the winter. So we put all of the drinks downstairs in the garage during the winter, and then you take it out of the garage already chilled for you. It's great. Like, it's kind of a pain, like in the middle of the night. Sometimes you don't have the energy to walk all the way to the garage to go get your drink, especially if you live on a two-story home. You have to walk all the way downstairs, and you don't feel like turning on the lights, and you don't stop and think about watching your step and all that fun stuff. All you have the energy to do is to stumble to the refrigerator, grab a drink in the middle of the night, and then stumble back to your bed and just plop yourself back on the bed again. That's how I feel every night. So I should try to start putting a water bottle in the refrigerator in the evening. As long as I put a water bottle in the refrigerator, I'm fine. I used to put a bunch of water bottles in the refrigerator, but it was starting to take up space, and Andrew didn't like that. So Andrew started keeping all the drinks downstairs. And as I said, with the garage being as cold as it is, I actually like his idea. It's during the summer I'm more worried about because everything's going to be warm and not going to taste as good. But considering our winters are longer here than they are down in Florida, I have no problem with it. I can go grab myself a 2 liter out of the garage, which we only have one left right now, until we bring home the 7 Up, which still is at my parents' condo. And then we can pour ourselves a glass. All I have to do is go upstairs from the garage after I grab the 2 liter, grab some glasses, and it's already chilled and ready to go. Heck, I could even put milk in the garage if I really wanted to, and it would be cold, but I would rather not. I'm just, putting that out there. I think that is funny that it's cold enough in the garage most of the time that you can get away with it. But today is a high of 50, so I wouldn't even put milk in the garage. But starting tomorrow, it's going to drop back down again. So starting tomorrow, if I wanted to, I could put milk in the garage. But it was kind of fun, getting groceries delivered to the house. It was a lot quicker than I thought. I know Zane has had issues with getting groceries delivered to the house in the past, but I did not have any issues. The guy was really cool about it, and he even was cool about getting me another container of Cool Whip. I like to put Cool Whip on my coffee. It makes it taste a little creamier, and it also cools it down a little bit because coffee always tastes way too hot for me at first. And I also like to put on my hot chocolate if I ever have any hot chocolate. So that's also why I got it. I don't put Cool Whip on ice cream unless I buy ice cream. And I've actually stopped buying ice cream altogether for the house. And if I ever crave ice cream, my theory is I would rather go out and buy something small for that day than have something in the house. And then there's that temptation of just being able to scoop yourself a big bowl of ice cream, and then you would end up eating ice cream more often. And then if we don't have any ice cream in the house, I'm just more tempted to go out on the odd occasion and then buy something smaller that's only going to last for a short period of time, and then I won't do it again for a while. I know it's probably more expensive that way, but it's also better for my gut that way too, because I would rather go out and buy ice cream occasionally than having my own personal tub in the freezer or whatever. So it all depends on how you look at it, I guess. But that's the reason why I haven't been getting any ice cream from the grocery store lately. And I've also done, of course, both Meijer pickup and Kroger pickup. So Meijer pickup was kind of interesting. So I showed up at my store and I parked in the designated parking spot. I texted the number. So about a few minutes later, my coworker Sarah came out and I rolled down my window and she told me exactly what they did have and what they didn't have, more or less what they didn't have. And she had me open my trunk, so I opened my trunk and she started loading all the groceries in it. And then I was good to go. And then, as far as Kroger pickup, that was very different. And I basically showed up. I had an even smaller order. Meijer pickup has not been, I guess, getting as much attention as Kroger pickup, which is probably why um, they have been advertising as much as they have and why it's been completely free. Versus Kroger pickup is doing extremely well, and probably why they're able to get away with charging for it if you pay below $50. Because I showed up, I checked myself into the app, and they came out very quickly. And I didn't even have to open my window or anything. The lady literally showed up and had me open my trunk, put my stuff in the trunk, and then she closed it again, and then she just took right off. Because it was snowing that day, and I never once had to have any kind of communication with her at all. It was really interesting. That was the day after I decided to do delivery for the first time in years. So keep in mind, when I did delivery last time, this was years ago. This was back when they did the whole ring the doorbell, they stand in front of your door, and they don't wear a mask or anything, and they said, okay, so you had this, 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 and this, and then, okay, so there'll be such and such amount. And I think the last time I did pizza delivery was back before I even could drive, if that says anything. And yesterday, well, not yesterday, I'm so sorry. Saturday, I decided I was going to go ahead and do the whole pizza delivery thing because I decided, well, if I'm going to go to, you know, the church, then I want to make sure that my brother at least gets fed on time. Also, if I were to go to Domino's and go get pizza, I would at least do contactless curbside pickup. And to me, I would be probably safer if I just went ahead and did delivery. I figured this was the only chance I was going to go and get to have the pizza delivered to the house for like who knows how many years without it guilt tripping me because of the fact that we were still under quarantine at the time. My roommates can do it all to their heart's content and not feel any guilt whatsoever because they just would rather they would rather come home from work and not go anywhere for the rest of the day. So if they would rather spend the money and have stuff delivered to the house, that's their choice. I personally would rather order something, go out and go get it and bring it home, and only order stuff and have it delivered if I'm in that kind of circumstance that I'm not able to leave the house. So that day, because I'm not really supposed to be out of the house that much, and that particular day I was kind of preoccupied, I decided, well, I'll just go ahead and get pizza delivered to the house and just be this once. And the pizza person or pizza delivery boy or whatever basically showed up at the house, rang the doorbell, left the pizzas there, and left. We did the whole tip electronically. It was very different. I wasn't even there to see the pizzas get delivered, so I don't even know how it went. But all I know is I came home and there were pizzas on my brother's bed already, and I guess he had no issues with it, so that's good. So yeah, very different different story, that's for sure. Being stuck at home on quarantine is definitely very different, that's for sure. Um, it's definitely not something that I would do again, but it's um, something that that hopefully I won't have to worry about for a long time. And personally, the next time that I'm off from work for an extensive amount of time, I'm hoping that it's on a vacation and that's it. Sorry, my face looks a little flushed. I guess I'm a little dehydrated. Maybe I need to go get some water or something. Plus, the sun's shining right on my face in a weird way and probably making me look red. So, I will see you guys in the next vlog. And always remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Have a great day. Peace out.